The Gina and Matty podcast.
Our next guest is one of our favourites. She is the author of Little People, Big Feelings, co-host of Beyond the Chaos podcast. You can follow her at Connected Parenting AU on Instagram. It's the one and only Jen Muir. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning. We're glad you're here again.
It's that time of year.
It is, Jen. I want to talk to you about burnout. We are on the final stretch of the school year. The little mini humans are very tired and emotional.
The wheels are falling off.
Yeah, the wheels are falling off. And some of the adults too.
Oh, yeah, the adults are tired.
But what can you recommend that we do at this time of year just to try and keep peace and harmony?
Look, I mean, there's a few things we can do. One thing we can do is try to slow things down enough and just, I did a post the other night, but just doing little mini moments of either connection or humour, doing things at lower cortisol. So this is more for the kids, but there's one thing that we can do that is so nice for us as well as our kids, no matter how old your kids really. And the idea is you just spot your child either jumping on the trampoline or playing on the floor, or maybe they're, whatever, doing some Lego. You walk over and just lie on the ground near them. So lying on the ground is grounding for us. It often just slows our whole system down. Like even if you're just so busy and you've got a million things to do, you just lie on the ground next to your child. If you have little kids, chances are they will spot you, think it's hilarious and climb on you. But if you have older kids, they'll kind of just be like, okay, that's interesting. But often you find that you are just either noticing your child, and then you can be a bit more mindful. And there's a really beautiful activity you can do with your kids where you can just say, hey, let's talk about 5 things we see, 5 things we hear, and maybe even things that we smell. So that's bringing our mind right into the present. And so you can say, I can hear the bird, I can hear the traffic in the distance. What can you hear? And that's just this beautiful little mindfulness activity that can be really lovely in terms of our kids, but it is really good for us because heaven knows we all probably should be meditating and we don't. So, little things like that can make a difference. But even if you didn't have time for that, for our kids, just increasing those mini moments of connection, just trying to give your child a little wink, and light up, even though things are really busy, can make an enormous difference with little kids. And with bigger kids as well, or focusing on just even 10 minutes of one-on-one time, joining them in their world. But I think we have to acknowledge that often why we're scrambling is that there is so much happening, and we need to look at what we can ditch to combat overwhelm. This time of year, maybe you don't need to go. If your child's like, I don't want to go to swimming lessons, maybe we just don't go this week. Maybe we look at all the end of year activities and the 50 million friends that want to all catch up. And as much as they're all good things, they're not all good on the one Saturday.
I have noticed a bit of that, Jen, a bit of pushback in, loving what they do as their extracurricular, but just not, I just don't want to go today. And it's just, understanding that as well. And also the other thing that happened in our house the other day, so I've got the 3, I've got the 9-year-old, 7-year-old and the 5-year-old. The 5-year-old's going to big school next year. She came in, it was just out of nowhere, she came in and jumped on the bed and she said, I wish I was still your baby. And I was like, oh, God. And then I just was trying not to be an absolute mess. But
what did you say?
I said, you'll always be my baby. I said, oh, God, thank God. Jen approves. But I said, you're always going to be my baby. I'm always going to, no matter how old you are, I'm always going to try and pick you up. I'm always going to, lay kisses all over you. But I think it was just that I'm trying to understand that, oh, God, she's probably a bit scared of growing up and this end of year is pushing her that way.
Totally. And don't, really all humans sometimes just want to be babies. And I think she's still a little person. And so allowing that silliness as well. Like I think sometimes even just, something we do often, I might be washing up the dishes with the boys and I just put on some music and I might just do some really stupid dancing. And then next thing, someone might be joining in and then we're laughing, little things like that that lower the pressure. But I think, skip swimming if they're just feeling like, oh, I'm so tired, it's so much. Or, the biggest thing I would ditch for primary school kids at this time of year, homework outside of reading, if they don't want to do it, don't cause disconnection and fractures over probably what does not matter long term. So I always say sort of think of a dashboard, look at all the knobs you've got sort of turned up to 10 and think, what can we turn down? What can we lower the pressure on just to get us to the end of the year in one piece?
Oh, God, I love that. Let's turn some of those
you're
knobs
so good.
right down, Jen. We are pressed for time because we have got $30,000 to try and give away this morning, Jen. So I really do appreciate it. And people can get more from you from Little People, Big Feelings and, of course, Connected Parenting AU on the gram. We'll chat to you again in a couple of weeks. It's always a pleasure, Jem.
See you guys. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
Bye.
The Gina and Matty Podcast.
For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.